You guys hear me?
I noticed sometimes I notice like if I run my code through the execute.java,
Yeah.
it'll work fine. But sometimes if I do Maven test, I'll have like the phone freeze.
The phone freeze.
Yeah.
All right, let's see it. How quick are your tests, by the way? Like, do you have any problems? Like, does Appium hang a lot? Because if I can't run it on his machine, period, like it takes too long for him. We're trying to get him a
Uh,
computer that could at least run.
mine runs okay. I mean my computer like goes crazy, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Damn, your computer goes crazy. Isn't that chill?
I mean the fan is like
yeah.
pretty loud. It gets
It's
hot
it's
and
really bad.
charges.
Appium is really really resource intensive.
Yeah, this like my MacBook is pretty high end, so it shit still like goes crazy.
Yeah.
Good.
Uh, so like I wasn't really even able to completely finish the homework because like I keep getting performance issues.
Okay. Oh, because of your computer?
Yeah, like I think I finished it, but like it won't even get there. No, like I mean the I don't even have any that up, but the APM phone
Yeah.
like halfway through it'll stop responding, and then on the phone I'll get a notification that the app stopped responding.
Okay.
Um, so I won't even like get to see my entire code.
Right. Did you at least get up to the like the landing page?
I finished it. No, I finished it. It's just that like I can't get it to run on Maven.
Okay, let's see.
I finished the homework, but and then I gotta do this shit every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that too every time.
Did you try that cucumber thing you were talking about?
What cucumber thing? Oh
Uh
no, I didn't get a chance to look at that.
yeah, that was the answer to your question. If you are curious to check.
I'll get back to it. Oh,
Yeah, you gotta have your Android device on.
oh okay.
So you want us to open that up and do that again?
Yeah, I want to check. First I want to check your code, see what you did, what you couldn't do, your problems, so we could all share what happened, and that's how we'll do it. So I'll check issues first.
Hold on.
You guys should probably like get all your shit ready.
Yeah, 'cause it's gonna
Pretty
take a
cool.
while.
You can still look at my code, even though.
No, I'll look at it. Even if it doesn't run, that's not a problem as long as you tried.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Did I see?
So you didn't try to wrap your code up in Cucumber. You went with TestNG.
Yeah, because I couldn't even get past test NG. Like my thing wasn't working.
All right, now I'm curious to see what you mean by that.
Oh, I guess it worked this time. Interesting.
Yeah, let me keep letting it run and let's see where you got up to. Did you get past this part? All right, let's see what happened.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it works. It doesn't work on this, but like, watch. If I execute it normally, it's gonna work.
All right, how you did it just now? That was through the terminal, right?
the first one was Maven test here,
Okay.
and this one I clicked I'm using execute.java here.
Okay.
See, this one works perfectly. Okay, I don't know what just happened. Yeah, see, look, I'll like randomly get this.
That's the error. System UI isn't responding.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the way you did it just now, though, right? Does that way normally pass and you don't get this?
It normally passes.
But right now, what just happened? It just failed, even though this was the previous step you were using that was passing.
Yeah, like when I was doing the homework, and every time I clicked this button, it worked. But this is the first time that this happened when I did execute.java. But this happened like 7 out of 10 times when I used Maven.
Maybe it was just a coincidence, because outside of your Java client code, there isn't any difference whether or not you put it in execute. All right, let's try the Maven test way again.
Okay.
But did you expect it to fail? Where do we start? Let's see.
For this, I didn't expect it to fail. This was working.
Okay. So this part it failed at last time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you use to get past the screen? Did you try driver the accept method?
I used the I used that.
All right, let's check.
Like, okay, let me try it again, but with
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it froze again too. I don't think it failed. I think it froze. Actually, never mind. Okay, so it should work when I do execute that job. I don't know why.
All right, let's see it then.
Okay, I don't know. Working anymore. I literally ran it like maybe a few hours ago and it was working.
Okay. All right, let me just see the step where you're supposed to accept that. And
Okay.
what you did.
Right here.
All right. So the sleep method you're borrowing from base page, right?
Yes.
Extend. All right. Let's see that.
This is just a try catch the play. It just made my code cleaner.
Yeah, but you're only sleeping. Remember what we said about the sleep method? It accepts it in milliseconds, right? So that's like 0.0005 seconds. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. Try to leave it, but just increase that timer. 5,000. Yeah. That's not. I'm saying. You know what? That's even too long. Just put 3,000. So 3,000 milliseconds is 3 seconds.
It's already running.
Okay, yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, I was like, basically you're telling the driver had like a thousandth of a 3 seconds to.
Because I changed that after I saw my code was working. So I like before I must have had 5,000, and then I switched it to 5.
All right, should work now. Yep, there you go. All right.
Then I have this works too.
Oh yeah, what'd you use for that? You researched touch action, right?
No, my code works. It just crashed. I think I used the touch action.
Yeah. Yep, that was it. So you just located the points with Appium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing you should consider, like that's fine that you did it and worked now, but what if you used a smaller screen device? You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
would 500 and 300 be the exact, coordinate for that device?
well, I wanted to use there was this one method I saw online. It was like find center or something like that, where like you find the element, like driver dot find element, and then you center on that element.
Yeah.
Um, and then you can click. But like I saw it online in the documentation, but then like when I tried to add it to the end of like a find element thing, like it wasn't showing up. So I
Oh.
don't know, maybe they removed it or I have an older version.
Yeah, I mean, well, before I continue, fine, Berm, you get what I'm trying to say here, right? With dishes code line 55.
I I used the coordinates thing too, but I thought you said you wanted the coordinates.
No, I do.
You
I do want the coordinates. But the problem here is, you see my problem with it, right?
yeah, different
Why?
phones have different coordinates.
Right. Like if you hard code 500 and 300, right? Let's say he decided to run this on I don't know, like a really small device, like an iPhone SE, and take the other extreme, like an iPhone 13 Pro Max, right? Completely different, screen, and even that's even a huger gap if you decided to test it against an iPad, right? An iPad Pro 12.9, right? The 300 and 500, 500 and 300 as XY coordinates will mean two completely different things, right? So, I mean, well, let's wait for a second. How do you think? What would be a good way to, this is
How
actually a common
I
problem.
wanted to do it. Were you asking them?
Oh, no, I'm asking all you guys. What do you think?
How I wanted to do it was if I let
Like
me go there manually. But so like there was this title element up here. So I wanted to target that and then send like this. Like I want to just click on this instead of just finding coordinates. I wanted to click on this element, right? And so how to do that online, I saw it was you find the element and then you do find center or something like that. But I don't know, it wasn't working, so I just used the coordinates.
So that's fine.
What other ways can you do it if not by the coordinates?
doesn't touch action have more
Yeah. No. I'm glad you guys went with this approach, just to show you there's always options. So, all right, let me share my screen. And this is a real quick tidbit, but it's important enough where it should be mentioned, where it should at least get you somewhat thinking about it. Hang on. So, yeah, this is just one of the library methods you would have only have known if you look through Selenium or Appium, because they use the same they use the same kind of interface. So
Is it Appium or is it APM?
so I don't know. It's up to you. I call it Appium because it's an app. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So the point is, you have all these other methods. If you guys want or care to investigate, because you never know if they are going to ask you. They most likely will. Not it's not common, but you never know, right? So just as a thing to note, like a good way to do it is to if you go through manage. All right, so sorry. So another way to get one of the points is, you know how you saw like point options using, well, your other method, which touch action. Another way to get a position is to do this, and maybe you want to get the height of the screen and the thing and the width of a screen, right? And you could always position the pointer to point 3/4 like into that screen. You get what I'm saying? So if there was a height of some kind of device, right? An iPhone SE, the smallest one. You could get the height of that device. The WebDriver will give you that capability, and you could take that height, that complete height, and if you multiply it by either if it's 1/4 or 3/4, you get Y, right? Because either the library could work as if it was 1/4 down from the top of the screen, or 3/4 up from the bottom of the screen, right? So if you want, you could do it that way, and click on the point that's like, you know, a quarter of the height down from the top. I don't know if that was clear, but you guys are getting my point.
What if that still clicks within the box?
Which one? Why would it?
Like-
Think about it. If the app is going to still have the same ratios against any iPhone, right? So what I'm saying is, all right, let me pull something up.
I get what you're saying. I just think, what if the dimensions of the box, or whatever you're trying to click away from, takes up that space?
It won't. Most likely, it won't. I've never seen because the UI is going to act just according to the ratios of the device, right? So, you know, you won't have to worry about hard-coded values in, right? You just have to think of it. All right, like if we pull that, Ish, if you could share your screen again. I don't have the emulator open.
Oh, I closed it. I can open it again
No,
though.
that's fine. I'll pull mine up. So,
How's it going?
so I'm trying to say. So this is a Pixel 3a, right? So this you could clearly see, like, you know, some ratio of this. You got to click in this region, right? The UI, it's gonna take, if you go by that route. If you have a like imagine an imaginary device over here that's like this much bigger than this, right? It's gonna still have this portion, this is same exact amount down from it, right? So it's just gonna calculate the exact amount of the height and take a quarter of it and then click on that amount. So that's something, you know, you should keep in mind. Look into it yourself. You know, less and less I'm gonna do it myself, but I'll point you to the right direction. So, you know, this will be in the video. So this is something I do want to see, and you know, as we keep iterating over this app, just something to keep in mind. But Ish, let's go back to your screen and see what this problem was.
Hold on. Okay, I gotta reopen everything. So if you want to talk about something else while I
Okay.
do it.
All right. So Berm, let's see how far you got.
Yeah, I didn't really get far.
All right. Let's see.
Wait.
Why?
Question is mine.
All right. Go ahead. All right. File. Go ahead first.
Okay, my computer might blow up because they're all running right now.
Yeah. Try your best to get that. You know, like a.
Yeah, it's coming Thursday. I already ordered it.
All right.
So.
All right. Which one? You got M1, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You won't have a problem with that. Just make sure you can return it after a month, so you can get the new ones.
You got 14 days, don't you?
After I wrote my code like the regular way, I wrapped it with like the test ng stuff. But I ran into one issue with the code, like this part right here. I put this in the hooks thing, before method and after method.
Yeah.
Everything looks fine here. But then this went red, and I'm not sure why. And it says static.
Let's see. Just go on the landing page and hit save. It could easily be one of those issues. Oh, well, I mean, I mean base
page. You gotta call the driver, don't you?
Let's see what he did.
Here?
Yeah, I mean, go to hooks. Sorry, go to hooks.
Oh, it extends.
All right,
There's
so,
something to do with this and this, I feel like.
well, highlight driver for a second. Driver equals, in line 30, highlight driver. Just driver.
Like this?
No, just the pointer.
Driver on the left side.
Yeah, driver on the left of the equals. Just double click that. No, not that. The word,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, so it's pointing correctly. So you got the driver equals new Chrome driver, Appium driver. All right, let's go back to add to cart.
I don't know what driver to static means. Like, why would that change to? Why would they change the word driver to static?
Let's see.
Like before I did the hooks page, it was like all on execute. It was all fine.
Well, are you doing this in oh, this is in test.ng, right?
Yeah, then I started wrapping my code in test ng.
All right.
That didn't.
This could just be a. Oh, it's because look at your method names. What do they have on them? You see static, right?
Oh, this one?
Yeah, try to take that out. Yeah, anytime you use a static method, it references, and anytime you're going to use a variable to it, it's going to, you got to use a static thing. Yeah, do that with everything else too.
Wait, why? Wait, what does having static there do?
So it's kind of like the actual purpose of static is really complicated, but basically if he were to go into another class, right, and he put that as public static instead of private static, he wouldn't have to reinstantiate add to carts. That makes sense. Like he could just do add to carts test dot test01, right, and it would reference it directly. But in this case, since it's private, or rather it doesn't have static in it, he would just have to instantiate it. Wait, Fa, what are you doing now?
I'm running it.
All right.
Single. Socket hangup.
Yeah, that's supposed to, that just happens, and it's just this attempt to connect to the device. It's just, that's why it keeps repeating it. How loud is your machine right now?
My
Yeah.
MacBook doesn't make noise, but it swells up like midway through class.
She's gonna burn down your house by the time.
Swells up.
Okay, like now it's like it didn't even open the app this time. Like usually it'll open the app, like it'll show the ship logo, and then it's done. Like it's no more.
Oh yeah, you gotta just get that MacBook, because I had the same problem with Appium, like I told you. I like, but it's important to know it, and you can't know it if you don't know.
I had some other questions. Like I noticed with this, I don't like. Well, with this app, like compared to like I know Sauce Demo is like a simple like website.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't know when to make a page. Like I felt like I don't know what was considered a whole new page that I should make a page object for. Like at first I did like landing page obviously, and then location page. But like location had like its own like 3 pages. Like you find the thing, the address, and then after you have to save the address.
No, I got you. Yeah, no, actually today and tomorrow's lessons. So basically we're gonna dial back, adding to the stack of tech and find a way to make it more efficient. Like I remember how you guys were asking before, right? Like all of these test annotations. Why do we keep reinstantiating the base pages and everything, right? And that was very legitimate questions, right? And today we're gonna go over that actually, of how to make it more efficient. But like I said, like early. At first, when you're just coding something up, don't worry too much about it. Like even if you're really inefficient about it, just get it to a point where it starts running, and then you're gonna worry about refactoring. And today and tomorrow we're gonna find out how to refactor better. So yeah, so let's just wait for today. So any other questions? So let me see. So you were supposed to just so you were able to add the banana to the cart without a problem?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know because the thing doesn't know.
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
But you can take a look at my code. Maybe see. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks right. The problem is with these tests, it's hard to know.
Wait, give me a second. I'm getting a phone call about a house. Give me 1 second.
All right. Ish, did you pull? Berm, do you have anything to share though? Like you don't want to go over anything?
Yeah, I have I have the code. I just didn't wrap it around the test ng yet.
All right. But you didn't have any other.
Get to that. So.
But you don't have any problems.
It's just a setup. That's like after I closed out of what is this Appium. I figured it out the first time, and I forgot how I did it again to set it up.
You need help with that?
Damn, where did it go? I just had it. Yeah. Oh man, he erased again. Every time I close it, it erases. So I'm talking about this right here. Can you see my screen? No. Like this thing.
Let me see.
So I just set it up, and I think I closed it, so it stopped again. But I don't know if I set it up right because it wasn't working. What like the things that go in here? You put it in the Teams chat, right?
Yeah.
So what I was doing, I was copying it from like this thing.
Yeah, that's
That's what
exactly
we
what you're
get, right?
supposed to. The only thing is the bottom two you don't need those. That's only for
Oh,
your
maybe that's
test.
why it wasn't running. I was putting in those two as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
all
technically
right,
it still should
okay.
run, but let's see.
Platform name. Oh wait, this is supposed to say APK, right?
Let's see. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. You said right.
Yeah, should be good.
So just there's nothing else I was supposed to do, right? Just
No,
start
no, that's
session.
it. That's it. Just the one thing you should copy paste that into like a notepad because for some reason you guys have to continuously copy paste it. Shit, looks like it's working now.
Oh, I think I know why. I gotta have the
Yeah,
Android Studio open, right?
the actual emulator open.
I mean, yeah, that's why. So how do I do that again?
Pull up Android Studio.
I have Android Studio open. How do I open the actual emulator?
Do you have a project in it that you started? Yeah, you do. You're in it. All right. So go up in the top. Do you see tools in the top somewhere?
Freaking, it keeps. Wait, hold on. The hell. All right, hold on. I gotta stop presenting because
Yeah.
every time I go to the thing, it only shows Microsoft Teams. All right, tools. Yeah, so tools. Then you go to AVD Manager, right?
Yeah.
Wait, which one was the one we downloaded the second time after the first one wasn't working? It was
It
a
should
regular
be the
Pixel, right?
same
Android
as
11.
should be the same as what Ish
Yeah.
was using.
Oh wait, no.
Pixel.
Okay, I got it. It's up now. Now let me try this. Okay.
Right.
It worked. It worked now.
Share your screen. Yeah, I think you unshared it.
Okay, I got it up now.
So you said you just gotta wrap it, right?
Yeah, I just gotta wrap it,
All right.
which I'm gonna do tonight. I got time.
Okay. But you don't have any other problems or anything you not clear about?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay. All right. Ish, was there anything else you had left you wanted to go over?
Yeah, I'm just confused why my MVN. Sorry about that. I'm back. So, share my screen.
Ish, you got a more advanced computer. Like, did the Pixel 3a? Did you try to see if it works better with that, and not the Pixel?
The 3A? No, I didn't try it.
After this, let's try it on that because your computer should be able to handle it. So the
Okay.
only thing you got to change is the pixel underscore 3a. That.
I mean, isn't the Pixel 3a a more advanced phone?
Yeah, it is. That's why I'm thinking you won't hit the UI errors with it.
Oh.
Maybe not. Well, let's see.
Okay, so MVN test. So yeah, this probably isn't gonna work, but like you saw, when I do execute.java, it works perfectly fine. But then like
Wait, so
for
while you were doing it, while we were on Faz and Berm screen, that was happening exactly as you were saying.
what?
Where you launch it from execute.java and it works, or doesn't work, or something.
Execute.java works
Okay.
fine, and MVN usually doesn't work.
Okay. So what are you doing it through now?
This-
MVN?
This time it just worked. No, I did MVN this time.
So every time you're sharing it, it works.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's more like the emulator messes up.
Yeah.
So
So
the-
all right. So at this point, this is still supposed to pass, right? Based on what you've seen with your scripts.
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever reason, let me see this why it's failing. Let's see what
I think it's the touch action might have
Oh
stopped working.
yeah. Fix all of that. Fix the. I see another one too. So fix all of that. Make it all at least 3 seconds.
Oh yeah. Computer's so loud right now.
Yeah.
Really, man? Computer's not loud at all.
Should I do that with mine?
What?
Oh, yeah, I'm not.
Put a bunch of sleep everywhere, just so.
No, just where you need it, because otherwise your scripts are gonna be slow as hell.
So there's no workaround for that. Like I tried the implicit wait, but it doesn't really work the same.
It sometimes does. Usually, you want to use that as your first resort, right? And there's still gonna be parts where it doesn't work. That's when you use the explicit sleep method. Wait, is this the 3A?
No, this is a regular Pixel.
All right, and the next run, because I bet this is gonna fail now. Let's try 3A. Oh, it's working.
Yeah, I just I didn't wait long enough on this one, but it works.
Okay. All right. So now let's try it on the 3A.
Okay. So if I play this, are they both gonna run, or is this gonna turn off?
It's gonna depend on what you put in your desired capability. So you could close out the Pixel one.
Okay, so
So there's only one string you have to change after you launch this.
close this
Yeah.
and then change this to 3A.
Underscore
But it's
3A. Yeah.
different version though.
Oh yeah, you're right. What is it?
12.
Yeah.
So I remember this not working, so it might not work.
Yeah, I forgot the reason why it wasn't working. Oh, that's right. This is not gonna. This doesn't have to share the same architecture of your MacBook. All right, let's try it anyway. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's not. It's not. I remember now. It's not actually gonna pull up the image because it's an ARM64 emulator. ARM is just the chip that these M1s use. So, all right. So what I recommend doing is, all right, first click on Create Virtual Device and pick a more advanced pixel and make sure the architecture is x86 because that's what your guys' MacBooks support. But when Fob, buys a new one, his M1, he's gonna have to select ARM64.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I mean, at this point.
How do you create a new one?
All right. You see, I create virtual. All right, let's all see just in case. Where does it say x86?
Pixel 3A?
Yeah, but it has to say x86.
That's in the next page, isn't
Yeah,
it?
maybe. Yeah, I think so. All right, hit next.
Uh,
It's in the bottom right. Yeah.
It
okay.
only says x86.
Yeah. That's all you have to do. I think last time we
Wait,
did.
but that one didn't have ARM. None of the ARM options. So what would Fa pick?
Well, I think I mean Ish found it, so it's definitely there. So we just have to look there.
There's
No, but the one he found was x86.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's a you see that second option, right? So he selected ARM64 for that second Pixel 3a.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay,
it's
I didn't see
definitely there.
that.
Wait, Ish, that's not the right
it is.
oh, it is? Yeah, you're right.
Oh wait, I have to start this.
Yeah, you gotta start.
So I guess it does work, right?
Let's wait. Wait until it loads up and then we'll hit run.
Wait, wouldn't we use Sauce Labs or whatever, so we wouldn't have to deal with this?
Yeah, but so Sauce Labs is remote, right? So usually you want to run against your local emulators because it'll be faster. So you don't want to test out scripts against Sauce Labs because it'll take forever.
How would you even know, like, the errors we're having right now with APM? Like, how do you know, like, APM and stuff is functioning like with Sauce Labs? Like, how do you know when to put like thread sleeps and all that?
So that's just a matter of your actual thing, the app, the thread sleeps. And yeah, you're right. That's actually a good point. A lot of times you have to account for connection, issues. But yeah, you just got to account for that. It won't be a huge discrepancy. All right, so it does load up. So you want to try to run a script against it
Yeah.
using those same desired capabilities? Wait, you got to change your thing, Eclipse settings, right? Because you still have that pointed to Pixel 1. Right there. So just if you want, no, leave it there.
Oh, it still worked.
That is, why did that happen? All right, let's let it run. Let's see what happens.
Maybe it's because it was pixel, so it just like took it as
Maybe.
it just partially.
Yeah. Well, let's see if it works. I want to see no UI errors. Yeah, it's probably a partial match or something. I don't know.
Yes, it worked.
Well, why isn't it going through the rest of your steps?
It did. Oh wait, no, it didn't finish
Yeah,
the.
it didn't actually bring it to the cart. So let's pull up your terminal wherever you put Maven test. All right, let's see it failed. Let's see what it says. And the
Tap outside. Wait. Click grocery store. Where did I? Oh wait, no, I have it in the grocery store my page. So, in my test, our test, it should have worked. Because this is my test here.
okay, yeah.
And I checked the path. It was good.
Let's see. Go to the terminal where you did the Maven testing. Let's see what the error is. If it's a no such element exception, That usually just means a timeout error. So let's see what it says. No.
An element could not be located.
Yeah, so that usually almost always means your timeout wasn't good enough. So let's see what happens after you click the tap outside menu one. Meaning let's inspect that method when you go landing page and tap outside.
This?
Yeah. Oh, there's no sleep after you tap
Oh, I
outside.
need to sleep after it?
Well, maybe you don't need one before it. Ultimately up to you, but yeah, let's try the worst case scenario. Let's do it even afterwards. Let's put 3 seconds, yeah. And, decrease that 8,000 second timer to 3 seconds as well. You never need it for 8 seconds.
It's not gonna pop up in time.
Oh, you tested that out?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, fine. Doesn't look like it's gonna work. What are you tapping on here? The plus button?
Yeah, this right here.
That is weird. Yeah, we'll look into it. But were you able to add to the cart before in your other tests?
I no, because at that point my thing kept crashing.
Okay. All right, so you never got to see if your actual the add step worked then.
No.
Okay, that's fine. All right, we'll look into that. But we'll keep at that test as long as you did it. But did you verify your locator was correct and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. At that point, it might be. You see, these types of things are gonna happen where even if you have the locator right, you have the element on your screen, everything seems correct. It's still failing. You might need to tweak it a bit where you see. Well, at least at this point right now, you get to the point where you're landing on the plus step. So you might even want to try like scrolling down a bit in the page, not too much where you where you pass it, but maybe just enough where you could center it a bit better and then try it. Well, that's just a little suggestion. If I got up to that step and we could have seen it, we could have compared. Maybe there's something wrong with the locator itself, but we'll keep trying. So we're gonna keep working on the app, so that's fine. All right. Other than that, let's start today's. Yeah.
Let's say you're working on an app, but like you're working on a part of the app that's like deep, like not landing page. Landing page is like the first thing, like you see, but like I don't know how to describe it, but like something like that would take a lot of steps to reach.
Right. No, I got you saying. Yeah.
How do you test that without having to always run it and like go through those million steps just to reach that one page that's like all the way deep inside the app?
So that's where design patterns come in handy, and I'll show you how to. Well, okay. So you're saying like, for instance, let's say a flow. I don't know. Let's say in the app, maybe we could even use it as a good example. All right. Let me even do something here actually.
There's no way to like test just one page, like without having to do like the million like login steps and.
I got what you're saying. Hang on. So let's even get so you guys see my emulator, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take an actual example. Let's say I haven't even used this enough to really get a. Let me see. with this is you need to kind of log in. All right, let me. All right, so this is a good example. So let's say the test case was like this. All right, let me just go back to the very initial page. All right, so say the test case is simply to, I don't know, make an order or something like that using this button right here. So you'd click the button, do search now, hit milk, and let's even go even further. Like let's say make sure this filter functionality worked, right? And then you have to click milk, and then you have to add to cart. That's a really hefty step, right? And you guys should kind of start feeling that pressure of that many steps. Like all of these other pages, you got to keep reinstantiating. As far as you know, that's what you've been doing. You kept reinstantiating, like, so it would probably be like, landing page, orders page, whatever you want to call this. Let's say wine. Let's call this the product page. I mean, you get my point. And then you finally go to the filter page, right? And then the question is, you have to keep reinstantiating it, right? That's your question, right, Fa? And like,
what if like up to the filters page, everything is working up to the filters?
No, exactly. And I want you to actually keep that in mind for today's. It's a perfect opportunity to do it because you guys have seen how repetitive it is so far. So what I'm about to teach today, you won't appreciate, or you can't have the capacity to appreciate until you see how bad programming, which is actually what you guys have been doing, bad programming. That's fine, because the point of doing the bad stuff first is so you get an appreciation for patterns, and that's what you should be focusing on. So that's actually a very good question Fa proposed, and that I know it's been in all of your heads. Like I know that for a fact because it was in mine when I was first learning this stuff. Like suppose the test case was such that all you wanted to see is to make sure that one test case should see if all of these products are red wine. One test case is to see if, where did it go? One is for white wine, one is for champagne, rosé, specialty, right? And Fa's question is, all right, does it really have to be the case? And I restarted the test. See, right, I have it right here, design patterns, because it's something I wanted to go over today. It's something I wanted to go over for a long time, but you guys just weren't there just yet. Let me close some stuff out. So let's call this. So speaking of which, so this is a completely start from scratch project, which is something it's really a good thing for you guys to do. Even if you feel like you overdid your current project, to really cement it, just start from scratch and do it all over again. It's repetitive, but that's the only really good way to drill it into your heads. I mean, so if your code is really bad and you don't feel like resetting it with Git, just restart another one and just redo it again. Like it's gonna feel somewhat frustrating, but it's good to see what you've done from the start, so you observe your workflow and everything. So let's call this the filter test. Right, and then obviously you extend it from hooks. I got the hooks class right here. You got your before and after method. So, going on, I'm not going to fill the bodies out anymore. At this point, you guys should be familiar enough with it where you could, it shouldn't even have to be said anymore. What's going to go in here, what's going to go in here. You should be at that level at least. So, I got the page objects package. I got the test runners package. And filter test, let's say, all right. So let's say in this example, and you're not going to do it this way, but for the purposes of the demonstration, let's just say you had a test case specifically for wine. I don't know, and that's not that far out, because a lot of times your specific company, let's say you were working for Shipped, right? You're working on automation for Shipped. They might have a special agreement with certain wines or something like that, like where you display certain wines, so it becomes important to test against their wines or whatever. So let's say one test was filter red wine, one test was filter white wine, one test was I don't know if they can do that. It's pretty cool. Filter champagne. Oh, what else did I have?
Input test, add test.
I thought it did it itself. What else? And filter rosé, and we'll stop there. Okay, so what Fa was asking is, and I didn't actually create any of these page objects yet, so you'll see red, obviously, but that's fine. You guys should be comfortable enough where you know why it's showing red. So obviously in this page, you'll have landing page, right? And it gets the driver. Let's say, so let's even take it just to really hammer in the point. You got your orders page.
Oh.
You got, let's see what this is called. This is called, it's a product page. You click the wine. I'll say wine page. Okay, and lastly, you got your filter page, or I don't know. I don't want to call this a page, but we'll just do it because this is not technically a page, but we'll do it anyway. Filter page equals new filter page driver, and that's fine at first, right? Because you wanna clearly get up to this point where you could click through each of these buttons, right? So you want to click through each of these buttons and just run through whatever flow this is. It's not important what this is. But basically, you should still have to be able to test against each of them, right? Because ultimately, that's just the point of your job. But the point is, whenever you're for this specific test, whenever you're on the landing, orders, product, wine, filter page, you're gonna do the same steps. So why repeat it, right? All of this, for a fact, up until the filter page, at which point you're only really switching you're only toggling between the wines. It's the same thing. So why even have to repeat it, right? That's a very reasonable question. And what you guys have been doing so far, which is a problematic, but again, it's something everyone has to go through, or else you don't realize better approaches out there. So today we're gonna find out a better way to do things. Give me a second. So what's the problem with, at the very least, right? Say you didn't want to do this. Can you guys think of any other way to at least make it so it's one line, this entire thing? This whole process from line to 15. Say again?
Code.
Say again?
Put it all in one code.
Yeah, so instruct me through that process.
Somewhere.
Say again?
You put it all in one code in the background somewhere.
You're right, in the background, right? So let's say there's a separate section for that over here. So at the very least, we'll know that all the joined up code is in one section, right? And I'm going to call that a facade, and I'll tell you why I'm going to call it that a little later. Right, so let's say all of those codes you guys are thinking about, where you group up a bunch of ones that is pretty much boilerplate. When I say boilerplate, I mean it's going to happen regardless, and it's not subject to change, right? You go through the motions, and you're only really interested in this area, right? So you don't care about what's going on here because it's the same everywhere. So let's say we put it right here, and let's give it a unique name. Let's say filter wine, right? Okay. All right. Keep going.
You would put in like put in all that code into the filter one class.
Yeah, why not? So let's even put it in the constructor. Why even use a method? If this is all going to be one type of test case where you're running up to the point over here that you care about, why even bother with extra methods, right? If we need methods, we could add it. Don't make this into a hard and fast rule, right? But we'll say for the first part, like the way we've defined facades, right, is if there's a test case where there's a lot of repetition, let's just package it all in a class. Why not? We could do that. So without even trying to think of a method, let's say, let's copy and paste it here. And again, you're gonna get a bunch of errors. That's fine. That's because we're not importing stuff around. You guys will do that yourself when you're thinking about it. All right, what else does this look like it's missing?
My question was a little different. Because either way, like even this way, wouldn't you still have to, like every time you run the test, you have to watch the app go through this beginning process every time?
Which beginning process?
Like the landing page, and then he clicks guest, and then like he goes picks location and all that. Like
so you're saying it from the app's perspective. How do you get to this point, right?
Like, I was thinking, like, I just want to test like where my test literally starts from filter.
Oh, I got what you're saying.
I don't think you can do that, can you?
Yeah, you can't do that because think of it. The point of the QA tester, right, is you're receiving this app as if you were the end user, right? And the end user has no way of doing that, right? He can't just land on the filter page miraculously. That's not how the app behaves. That would be nice. Yeah, but go on.
But to not see all that habit, can you just not have those the timer, whatever the thing is called, the try catch, or the what do you call it? Where it looks at each page, it stays on each page for a couple seconds.
Right,
but just turn that off on each one so it quickly goes through it, right?
Yeah, but think about it. If you don't put timers in, right, then remember the problems we're having with the screen transitions, right? So how would you even get to this page without those timers? So you still end up needing them.
Still need them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you were saying, I get what you're saying. Like, wouldn't it be nice to just land on a page? The problem is there's no way to do that, like point blank. Just because this behaves like a regular app as the end user would, right? So even I don't even think as a developer, right? Let's say they're developing this sort of feature, even from their end. Yeah, they could head right to the page itself and they could program it screen by screen. But when they're testing it to make sure their feature works, they have to do it the same way. They run through it to make sure it quickly works, and they hand it off to QA engineers.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, that is a problem. But the better your tests are, that's not really something you're gonna worry about later.
Cause I'm thinking Ish's homework, for example, like he has to wait for his program to go through all these steps.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know like if his ending step is working or not. Cause like having like all these issues, it would be nice for like him to like be able to test his like couple lines of script right at the end, like see if those are even working.
No, I got what you're saying, and the proper way to deal with that, I get exactly what you're saying, but take the idea of the landing on the exact page you need to get to out of your mind, because that's going to be impossible, right? But that's fine, because ultimately we're looking for workarounds, because that is a genuine concern. Let's even give like an actual example like we do here, right? Let's say you wanted to make sure, let's say you had 5 different test cases, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just to make sure that you get up to this wine page and each of these are properly selected. And that's it. Let's say that's where the test ends, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't want to test for anything else. Just make sure you click on something and it highlights, right? Let's say that's what you want. So instead of being able to jump to this page, what we're gonna do, and I'll probably cover it next week, is that's where actual test reporting comes in. And what I mean by that is you take actual screenshots of it. Not you directly, not you manually. The actual driver has the capacity to do that. And what it does is instead of waiting for each of your runs to finish, you just hit run and go have a snack or something, right? And you don't pay attention to any of it, right? The point is at the very end, you'll get the only thing you should care about is not to watch this test execution in progress, because that's not automation. That's still manual, right? The idea is, if you're confident enough in what you built out, and if you hit run, you should be able to walk away, right? Get a coffee, come back, and arrive at a test report, right? And in that test report, when you open it, it should give you just enough details. Remember, ultimately, it's all up to how you coded it, where it's going to give you screenshots, it's going to give you where the steps failed, so you know exactly where in the line it failed, right? So essentially, it's you not having to do anything. It's you letting your test report, as long as you have a good one, indicate where it went wrong. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So keep that in mind, though. That's important. Right now, you guys are watching your scripts fail. I get how frustrating that is, right? You keep going and then it fails. The idea in that case is to, instead of watching that whole expensive procedure, and what I mean by expensive is it's taking a while out of your time waiting for it to complete, right? Correct. The point is you have to code it just enough where you account for those conditions, where if you hit run and once you get that test report and you are able to look at it, you can point out exactly where it failed and why. But that takes a lot of kind of
But so I mean, I guess I already know the answer to this, but is there a way, let's say it fails at a certain step, can it skip that step? I mean, it'll still tell you it failed there, but can it? Because I know once it fails, it doesn't even go through the rest of the steps, because I guess it can't. But
yeah, no, that's a good question too. All right, let me answer that.
I guess it's the same answer.
No,
as
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. So let's even take an actual example. Let's say you wanted to test two things at the same time. The first thing you wanted to test is if you hit this, this increments, right? Just this, and you could even. I'm pretty sure. Let me even see. I'm pretty sure. Let me refresh this. Oh, it's failed. All right, let me restart it, because I need you to see it to understand that. Give me a second.
Are you saying how the element changes when you add more to the card?
Right. So let me get to it to answer Berm's question. So let me go to the end, continue as guest. Get started. All right, so let's say you're interested in two things at the same time. One, does this increment, and this comes up. So let's hit this, and let's refresh. Let's see if there's an element indicating. Yeah, you see right there, right? Right there. Let's say you just wanted to see that the index for this or whatever. Let's see if there's another value showing. Let me see if it shows 2 if I add more. Let's see if this shows 4. Yeah. So in here you could see Appium clearly shows that the text at least updates, right, to 4. So that works fine. But let's say this is failing, but you still want to see if you could go to the cart and see the bananas in the cart, right? So instead of letting that fail, like let's say if this fails, you want to wrap that validation step around a try catch block, which we've went over before. Like you saw that in the sleep, right? So what that means, and I'll show it to you right here. Let's make it a generic exception. So you would put the validation step where you're checking for the incrementer, right? You put that in here, right? And let's say it fails, this part. It's going to catch it right here, and then it's going to do something with it. Usually you want to put this, e.printStackTrace, and that'll show you exactly where it went wrong, but that's fine because this is not going to catch the error and throw it anywhere else. It's just going to catch it and sit with it, and you just go on with your regular test cases. And what I mean by that is, all right, this fails. All right, don't fail the entire scenario. Just keep going, and it'll click this, and then you can continue doing the rest of whatever you need to do. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah. So,
but this here, like the failed state, doesn't stop you from going forward. But I guess at other points, like for instance, at the login stage, if the password isn't correct, it's not gonna let you keep going with the.
Oh yeah, but that's because of the app itself, right? Naturally, you
Yeah,
can't get into the next screen without putting in the correct login information.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. All right, all right. So let's go back to this. All right. So right. So what we were saying is we created a facade package, and at the very least, since we know that, well, let me go back to it so we know what we're talking about. All right, so we want to get to this step, and we just want to run a few tests. Why did it do this? All right, whatever. So you just want to thing. Should I make a new filter? Yeah, let me call it something else. Yeah, this would make more sense. Hang on. Let's say filter category. So this is filter category, but everything else still stands. You go through the landing, orders, etc. pages, and you just want to land at this step, and you just want to test that each of these category options, filters correctly. That's all you want, right? But do you want, clearly in this case, the problem was, well, we did wine here for now, but let's, in this case, it would be, filter produce, filter alcohol, filter beverages, filter pantry. We'll stop there, right? And you don't want to, just for that final step, you don't want to have to create all these test cases for it. So what we said is, as a possible solution, why not package all of these in a simple, facade, we call it, where you hide the implementation details, and just at the last step, that's where you that's where you try to thing. So we'll keep filter page. All right, but the only thing different is we're gonna instantiate this part above it, right? And again, this is not, we're not still not nowhere near an actual solution to this, but this is working towards something. At least for now, we could at least get to a place where we're at least reducing the lines, right? So what is this missing? Filter category. So we instantiated the drivers, right? This would, what? So let's say obviously over here.
So you need to bring in those page objects. Do you have them already?
Well, I'm telling you just to ignore it for now because I don't want to go about wasting time creating the page.
Right.
But yeah, that is true. You have, let's assume you have your page objects, right? But what are they trying to pull in? Yeah, I think it's better if because the errors are going to confuse you. All right, so right now I'm just typing out the page objects because I think this is going to be really confusing if it looks like that. Base page, got product page. Let me take out one page. And let's just say filter page. All right, and All right, sorry about that. So I'm just trying to redo everything. So it's let me import this too. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, quickly go over what I was doing. So I took out all the excess base pages, right? Let's say orders, product. Let's just say there's two for now, orders and product, right? And they were here before, but now we reduced it down to one line each, right? So what do we have to do now? So we said we're boiling it down to one class called facade. So at least those first few steps are taken care of, right? What now?
Well, the filter page. Are you supposed to have the filter page there too?
Yeah, it's there, right here. So I'm assuming we went up to this spot right here, right? So at this step, I'm assuming there's gonna be like, so in this case, it would be filter produce. So let's say there's one option for each right here. So public void click, or let's say filter produce, public void filter alcohol, and we'll stop at beverages. All right, so there's a click method. Right, so in the filter produce, you would, filter produce, or filter alcohol, and filter beverages, and we'll delete this. Okay, but we still need to, run through the test, which has a, orders page, products page. Let me put the landing page too, just to make it flow better. All right, so let's say this is the flow. Right, and obviously you wanted to, let me import that. You wanted to cut back on these lines, right? At the very least, where all of it's taken care of, clicking through the landing page, clicking through orders, clicking through products, and you wanted to put it all in one class, one method, right? We did that right here. So in order to replicate it here, what would I do? But yeah, here I'm showing what's happening in this step. Filter produce, alcohol, filter beverages, right? But I'm saying what else is this missing such that it could get to this step? Was the question clear?
Yeah.
Which part are you asking about?
So,
like, for the filter?
So what I'm saying is this is ultimately a filter test, right? This has to go through the landing page, the welcome page, the product page, everything just to get to this section that's talking about filters, right?
Mhm.
So what are each of these technically missing then?
Can you put it outside the methods in order that
where exactly?
like above, like right below filter test, right? Filter test extends hooks.
Right here?
Can you put it in there? Import. Wait.
You're thinking of it too much. It's simpler than that.
Filter category?
Huh?
Filter category?
Yeah, but where? You're right.
Okay, so put it above filter page in your first method.
Right, exactly. Don't overthink it. That's when you screw yourself over. Yeah, it's as simple as that. So let's even just, again, this is not the most optimal solution, but let's at least try to at least cut the lines down, right? So since this is a class itself, you could just do that. Right, but there's still a problem. What's the problem? Let me import it. So that works, right? But why won't these work?
The driver.
Right.
You have to
extend.
No, not extend. There's no reason to extend. Remember, it's like saying, do we need to extend the landing pages from hooks? No, we just needed to import them. So what do you think the only change we need to do for this one is?
You have to put in the driver as the argument.
Right, exactly. So show me how to do that.
So in the parentheses, just type in driver.
Yeah, right here, right?
There and in the other one, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, this, we're trying to do the skeleton first, and then we'll get to this. So over here, what am I putting?
Yeah, put in web driver.
Yep. Right, because these are actively looking for what driver you're talking about. Let me just import this.
Is it APM driver?
Say again?
Is it supposed to be APM driver?
This is a new project, but you're gonna have to use this in Appium 2 for sure. It's the same thing.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. So at the very least here.
So if this is for APM, we would put APM driver instead, right?
Yeah.
APM driver.
Yeah, exactly. And here I'm just assuming I'm redoing it, but I'm expecting all of you guys to do the same thing for Appium. The same thing carries over, right? Okay. So over here now we actually got. We're still obviously repeating somewhat, but let's even see a way to cut that fat down a bit. All right. So this at least takes you to where you don't have to reinstantiate. So there's some progress there, right? But we still don't.
So then, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Back up for a second. So if by doing that you don't need to reinstantiate for landing page and order page and product page, why do you still have to show filter page?
Right, because at the filter page,
in order
it's a
to
specific step, right? Because this one has to differentiate itself from this just from the filter alcohol or filter produce, right? At the very least.
Okay, but the first line, new filter category, parentheses driver, that will run.
Oh yeah. Let me take that. Let me take that out.
Getting into the login.
Say again.
Page dot filter product. Okay. Wait. So. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Stop me if I'm going too quick. Okay. But I still don't like this, right? Because this is still kind of sloppy. It still doesn't look as nice as I like for it to do. What I mean by that is I want one class to take care of everything. I want to just be able to run this line, and I want it to be extensive enough where it takes care of itself, right? So this is kind of the where the engineering part of software engineering comes in. You have to find a way to cut what you're doing down a lot, right? So I'm going to introduce a slightly new concept to it. And so before I do it, I want to cut this out, right? I want this to, regardless of, let me hang on. So I just don't want to add these two lines if I feel like this one line right here, filter category, which is pretty descriptive, in itself. I wanted to take care of it, right? Because even then, why reinstantiate when this could take care of more things, right? And I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is what we want, and we'll put these here just to indicate that this is still inefficient, and I'm just trying to figure out what to do with them. So I'm going to teach you guys something slightly new. and they're called interfaces. And they're not create something insanely new, really. There's just a small kind of feature to it, Java. And you're kind of familiar with it because you've used abstractions so far, but this gets into it. This is a different form of it, and I'll show you why. All right, give me a second. So the thing about this filter is I could be some tester, right? And I know there's some logic here, like that would be here, that goes up to this filter page, and it even continues on. What I mean by that is you could, you pick a filter, and obviously gets you to a different screen where maybe you could go on this page, and you can purchase it. Although I'm not sure how to do it from here, add to cart or something like that, right? You want to keep going, but you do know that in this filter step, there's different options you want to select. Right. So let me type out what I mean by interface, and then we're gonna continue on from there. So I just created a new interface, and just bear with me for now. I'm not going to completely be able to explain it in full just now. But all I did was I right-clicked new package, and just like as if I were about to create a new class, Java gives you the option for an interface. And all interface is where you're used to public class and the name of the class. Now it's just public interface filter option, right? And I'm going to just put one method signature inside it, and you'll start seeing the difference between an interface and a class. So the thing about, and I'll put interfaces right here. So I'm going to keep this open on the right side of the screen. So the thing about interfaces, and you'll see why shortly, is you can't do this to them. In that you'll see an immediate error, where previously you could create a function and you could type in the implementation details, but interfaces don't care about that. In that, let's hover over and see the error message. Abstract methods do not specify a body. It's the same thing with abstract classes that you're aware of. It's just for some reason that we'll go over shortly, you're not expected to create method bodies inside. Basically you just give them method signature, and that's your interface, and I'll show you why. The reasoning behind it isn't clear until you see it in action. So this is just how it accepts it. You can't put any implementation details to it, right? And keep that in mind. So I created a filter option interface, and I just put one method, and that's it. That's all this is. So let's see. So I'm not going to create a regular class, and I'm going to make it click produce, right? Something very, very specific, right? The only difference is I'm going to leverage this filter option I just created, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it implements filter option. So read that for a second, and what do you think is going to happen if I were to click this. So it's saying 2 quick fixes are available. And if I click this, it says add unimplemented methods. And it says right here, let me read the error message out. The type click produce must implement the inherited abstract method file option.click filter. So just think about it for a second and just tell me word for word, what do you think is going to happen if I click this, add unimplemented methods?
It's just gonna put in all those methods from
Which method?
filter test.
Filter test?
I mean, filter option,
Which is what?
which is just click filter option.
All right, so let's try that. Add unimplemented methods. And now, okay, what do you notice right away?
Well, an interface. What you mean, like, what do you notice about the method?
Yeah, what did it just do that this one wasn't allowing us to do?
An interface is just a collection of methods that aren't defined. So when you
No,
implement
they're
it,
defined. This is called defined. But what you mean by they just been unimplemented? You got to use your
yeah.
words
So
carefully. Yeah.
so basically, it's like a contract. So you're saying, like, if you're gonna implement filter options, then you have to have it in your somewhere in your class. You don't. I mean, it's gonna run if you just leave it like that. But ideally, you're supposed to populate it here.
Right. Well, not ideally you have to, or else it's pointless, right?
If you leave it blank, won't it still run?
Yeah, it'll run, but you're not gonna do anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
A good example is I use this for my evolve, because like every Pokemon evolves differently, right? So if I created a class called evolve and then I tried to get everything to extend from that, like it's not like a one size fits all type thing. So every class had an evolve, but it was different. So I implemented evolve, but every class would
Right.
create its own.
Right, and let me just show Fa and Berm what you're talking about. So what he's saying is, just like that contract he was talking about, if I added another method here, I would have every implementing class would be forced to bring in this method. So let's say you have another random method. Oh, you can't do that.
But isn't that already explicit? Like when you did click produce implements filter option. Isn't that the whole point of implementing the filter options? It's going to implement everything in the filter options class.
Right, but this is basically almost forcing you where anytime you implement it, like let's say you extended it, right? You could go by not doing anything with those methods, not using them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, as we saw with, plenty of page objects so far.
Yeah.
But in this, you're forced to do it. Like, look, I just added this random method signature in, right? And if I hover over, well, you immediately saw the red. This will be a compile time error because this is expecting you to at least create open brackets, right? So if I hit this, you'll see, all right, do something with it. It's basically forcing you to do it. And,
I see.
you're right. Don't think too much of it yet because still you're not really seeing the reasoning behind it clearly, right? So because this is a very simple idea, but to use it in practice is completely different, right? So let's see.
So can we, if we do plan on using all the methods in other projects where we used extends, can we instead use implements?
No, they're two different things, but you won't really see the difference until you use them a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and I'll show you a reason why I'm choosing these specific method names. All right, let me pull this aside for a second. So I have under interfaces, I did a click produce class, right? And let's say, obviously, what do you think the click filter option, or what am I trying to do with it? For the class click produce, what am I trying to do with the click filter option method?
Say that one more time.
So what's the point of me creating a click produce class? Just in general, what am I really trying to do here? As opposed to let me yeah. So let me say another one was click alcohol, and let's say that also implements click click option. Oh, what was it? Not click filter option. All right, and again, you see the error until I actually implement it. So what do you think in a general sense? Let me pull up click produce and where is it? Click alcohol. Right. So I made these two classes, and they both have implemented from filter option. Right. What do you think I'm trying to do in a general sense when I'm in this page with either? So I'm probably just trying to click produce, right? That's it. Like you think about, you're thinking of classes in too broad a sense. So basically, when I run this, what I'm expecting to ultimately get from this, I should say, is for it to just click produce in the meantime, and this entire to click alcohol. And these are very specific, but I could make them different in a way where I could make them more more involved. But let's just stick with click produce for now. All right, let me pull up filter category now because that's not here. All right, this is the step that might, well, let me see if it kind of shines a light on it. So let's say, so far, remember, let me expand this as much as I can because this part is important, and this part should show you how why this is useful. But give me a second. I gotta present it right. All right, so we got a filter category, which so far the only thing it has been doing, it has been like looking at line 28 of the filter test. It's brought us up to the filter page at the most, right? But we wanted to somehow get it to this one line where it manages all that without these extra lines. So let's see if there's another way to do it. So what I'm gonna do here is on top of the WebDriver, which we're passing here, is I'm gonna pass the interface name. So this almost pretty much behaves as a regular class would, right? It's just we tagged it. We tagged these are actual classes. The click alcohol, click produce, these are the actual classes. The only difference is they're almost joined in a sense. They're almost related in a sense because of this implementing option, right? So they're both filter options, right? So let's see. Obviously, just like before, I still need to import it. So I'll import this. And pay attention to this step. So at this point, I'm assuming I'm in the filter page, right? And at this point, what do you think I'm going to do here? So look at this side right here. What do you think I'm going to do here? Assuming right now I'm in the filter page. And I accepted an argument called filter option.
You would then you would make a new object for filter option.
Yes. Well, okay. This is assuming this is going to take that option, right? So let me even fill you in because I'm kind of asking you for a lot here. This is kind of a reach to get this, but maybe it might make more sense if I do this. Give me a second.
so long.
Say again? No, that's fine. This is something you'll have to look over. Don't worry about it.
You have like 6 classes open. I'm trying to figure out.
Okay. This is the only change I made. Previously, this was a this accepted a driver, and now it accepted a second argument called click produce. What do you think is my intention behind doing this?
Let's see. Hold on.
I'm gonna slowly add stuff into it. Relax. This is a very high level concept, but I just wanted to get you guys. This is most likely you're not gonna be tested unless you land on a high level technical interview, right? But I want you to be on your feet and like to be curious, right? Ish, any ideas, or can I keep going on? Ish, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Any ideas of what I'm trying to go for here? So, for instance, if I were to filter produce, I instantiate a filter category object such that it goes to the landing page, orders page, product page, lands on the filter page, right? But in this case, well, let me keep adding. So let's say I want to filter by alcohol here. Let me even take this out, or let me comment it out.
Oh, so you want all that code in those classes instead?
Right. Give me a second. Let me type this out.
Everything you just commented out.
So let me type in a bit more. All right, how about just look at it for a second, right? So I did reduce it down to a line in line 30 and line 18, right? The only thing is I accepted new types of new types of classes, click produce, click alcohol, of which classes I've created, right? The only kind of binding feature to them is they're all tagged with this idea where they're called filter option, right? And in filter category, what it does is anytime you instantiate the constructor, it runs through that whole process, right? And you run through the click filtering option. Our one missing piece is we haven't actually implemented click alcohol and click filter option just yet. So let's do this to it.
Wait, where's filter page?
We created it right here. It's still one of the page objects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So slowly, don't worry. I get this is a lot. Trust me. Like I'm understanding that, but just bear with me for now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now it's complete, but let's not freak out for a second. Give me a second. All right. The only thing missing here is now these click produce and click alcohol. You just throw in the driver in there. Okay. So now we did get it down to a single line, right? As opposed to this. And let's see why this works. So starting from scratch, right? Which we could do here, right? We had a bunch of, and let me not even, starting from scratch, we had landing page, product page, all that page. So we wanted to determine how do we condense that down to a single step, filter category, right? Filter category we created. And yeah, we do have the landing page, orders page, products page. That goes down nicely, right? The problem is nonetheless, once we get to this step, the filter page step, right? We still have to do the whole filter alcohol, filter produce, filter beverages, right? At that very last step, but I'm still not satisfied with that, right? I want to make it into a single line, right? So I wanted to take this and I wanted to store it in filter category somehow. The problem with that is, for instance, imagine I didn't have implements filter option. Imagine if I didn't have implements filter option right here, right? And they were two separate classes. In that case, what would filter category even accept? It would have to take two types of constructors, right? Which is, defeats the purpose of that, right? I'd have to put what here instead of filter option? I would have to put click alcohol, right? I'd have to put click produce, right? The point is, now that they're all bounded by the filter option interface, I could throw in both of them. And because of this generic click filter option, right? They look at it, look at what's inside, right? One says filter alcohol, one says filter produce, right? So this accounts for both through here, which I could pass in. But let me stop there. I know this is way over, this takes time. This is very high level. I just wanted to give you guys like a taste of it, of what like decent coding starts to look like, where you don't have to keep reinstantiating. But unfortunately, it's a trade-off, right? Because the other option was very straightforward but repetitive. This is way more technical, but in return you get more dividends for it. And I don't expect any of you to even understand like even a bit of this. The point is, this is something you're gonna look over each, because I got everything splayed out properly, and just watch this video over and try your best from now on to kind of think of it from this approach. But we're gonna go over some more tomorrow.
Does this kind of like break away from like the POM?
What do you mean?
The page object model type of thing?
You mean like this? Well, we're hiding the page object model right here. So the reason, going back to it now that Fa brought it up, the point, yeah, go ahead.
Isn't like all these, like you made like this click alcohol, click produce, doesn't that kind of break away from like the page object model type of thing, where like usually like we'd have stuff like click alcohol or click produce inside like the filter page or something, whatever.
Right, exactly. You mean the filter test, right?
No, I mean like, cause like usually like you have like these methods that are usually hidden inside the page objects themselves.
Right.
But
their own. Right, but you still do the page object methods here, for instance, right? Like for instance, in landing page would probably be like landing page dot click, I don't know, orders option or something like that, right? You still do all of that here. Orders page dot enter text or something like that, right? That's still happening, but the point is, now if you follow this approach, you only have to do it once and never again. You get what I'm saying? Like after you list it out, because like you said from the very beginning, right? To get to this page, it's all the exact same steps. The only difference is this part right here. How do you make it so you could hide all those implementation details such that the only step is at the end, right? And again, like don't worry too much about this. Most likely you won't get tested for it, but I just wanted you guys to be aware of it. Like always keep that in the back of your head. How do you make it more? How to make it? Yeah.
Interface thing is actually like used all the time at work.
I'd say in good code it is, like it should be. That's why a lot of these positions, like I was actually interviewing for a spot today, and obviously it's higher level, but
also have, like, let's say you code like good,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes your team isn't like on the same level as you.
Right.
Do you have to now adapt to them? Like,
No, no,
or
no,
like,
no, no. No. Like, the point is, if you usually all QA teams have a good lead to them, right? Well, they should, right? And the leads, they assess each of the the subordinate engineers like expertises, and they structure it in a way where they could try to pitch into the code base, but like if they're lower skilled or something, they're not gonna just dispose of them. Like they'll find a way to make them useful, and it could just be as a matter of filling out like test steps and everything, right?
okay.
Yeah. So this is more just to kind of give you a because I was thinking of whether even if I should even do this lesson, because you won't end up like it's a brief chance you'll get tested on it, but most likely not. But the point is, I wanted you to see there's like a whole world of like optimizing, right? Because you guys were all asking about it before, so I figured I might as well show you what that actually entails. Like this is high level, but it works, right? And you're expected to eventually get to this phase to be competitive. So I figured I should give you that exposure, even if this doesn't end up helping you too much in the interview. It gives you that exposure and keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. Isn't this like what is good practice though? Like this is how it should be, right?
No, there's even more to it than this. Like if you thought this was bad, like wait, I'm thinking of what I should do tomorrow, but there's gonna be more to it. But if you want, yeah.
But this is like going towards like how you should actually be writing your test though, right?
Exactly, because ultimately, let's say you don't care about the product, right? You don't care about anything really. You just want to get your job done. If you follow this model, not because a lot of problem you'll see with the page object model. You guys could have continued doing it this way, right? Where you do one page after another. You could continue doing it this way, and as long as your tests technically pass, then you technically did your job, right? And if there's no one above you to critique your code, then you're scot-free. That's until your tests start failing like crazy. And at that point, imagine like you have 50 of these test cases. You yourself, like I was even talking in the interview about it, like he was like at a certain point test cases get so bad nobody wants to fix them because it's so poorly optimized. You're not going to want to look at it, and you're just going to end up testing manually. And that slows you down, that puts more work on your plate. So it's better to adapt fast. That's my opinion. So this, yeah, but like you said, this is still not nowhere near optimal approach, but you're headed there, right? I didn't kind of I'm not letting you guys bag hold this page object model thinking this is the only way to do it. There's always more and way better ways.
It's just like the best practice.
Say again?
Are you gonna teach us like the best way to do it?
No, because that's gonna require like just think of it for now. Like I don't think any of you guys right now could exactly explain what's going on right now, like the implementation details. Like even Ish, like you get this stuff, and I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to walk me through this, right? Like clearly, because so the higher level stuff, the best practice is even tougher, like way tougher than this.
If
But
you
do you?
isn't it expected? Like the best approach, isn't that what's expected?
That's where this that's where, like, I don't want to say it on video, but that's why this industry is popping, because a lot of people don't know how to do it well, right? And there's so much demand for good talent that they're willing to use like the brute force approach. Get good staff until you land a really good one, like a really good QA engineer. Yeah.
So wait, where if you're not gonna teach us that, like
No, I got you. I'm gonna give you. No, I'm gonna see how far I could push you guys. Clearly, like I know I told you guys I have a November 20th deadline, but honestly, like I don't see it.
Stuff like that, like like I don't know. I feel like QA like is like kind of like
What?
no one really thinks about it, you know?
Say again?
Like how do you learn these like best practices type of thing? Like
Yeah, like no, that's a good question, because this field is so young. Like people have been making product tools and everything, and manual testing is such a legacy thing to do, and this is so new. Like you could look up Appium. Appium only came out probably like in 2010 or something like that, or maybe even later. I think it was like 2013 actually. Selenium like 2008. So all of this is very, very, very young, and to develop good design patterns is that takes experience, right? And most people don't have experience in it. You'll find all these articles of development, but you won't find half as much for automation. But that's like a good and a bad thing. The bad thing is clearly like you won't have good, solid automation engineers. The good thing is like this industry is ripe for like exploitation from good. If people know what they're doing, you can really scale up a lot in this career. So it's good to, yeah, like land the job, right? But if you want to make those like, high figure incomes, this is the way to do it. Like this is how you show your skills. And good automation will speak for itself because it makes everyone's lives easier, right? And that's highly visible. So, I mean, you owe it to yourself once you land it. And if you take it, say again.
Don't you have to work with the code that they already made and stuff?
Yeah, but you
Like
could always refactor it. Like if it's really bad, you could scale it back, extend a separate branch, work on that yourself. And if it's good, you'll get you'll have that pulled into the main branch, and you just go out from there.
So, you said we're not going to be done by mid-November?
No, I think you guys will be done, but I'm going to try to push. What I'm trying to do with this batch is, it's experimental. I'm trying to. None of this, by the way, is ever covered in Technosoft or any of these other boot camps. I'm just trying to push you guys to see.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, none of this.
I was going to ask, do you think Nabil, RJ, and any of them know this stuff?
No. Honestly, no. If I were to say, I don't even.
How did you learn it?
Because I wanted to get good at this, because it helps.
So I mean, but you learned it on yourself?
Yeah.
Yourself,
I learned it on myself because technically they don't teach any of this. They do basic Cucumber, basic test ng. Like all of this stuff is you guys already know. So at this point, I'm kind of throwing like almost we're at that phase where it's like post lecture material already because you guys are pretty good. Like you've advanced pretty fast. The only reason I'm pushing this to you is I just want to keep pushing you because otherwise you're not going to do it yourself. You're going to become you're going to stagnate in your jobs because you're going to think this is the only way to do it, which is the worst case, right? The only reason I've advanced like at this point is because I did research myself. Technosoft, none of them taught anything, period.
Where you even
what did you Googled how to like
yeah,
write better code? Is that what you had
say again?
How did you yourself learn this? Like you Googled how to write better code?
All of this. All right, let me look it up for you.
when I YouTube stuff like APM and stuff or Selenium, it's different than what you're teaching. Like it's more like, I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like some of the methods they use and stuff is different than how you code it.
That's fine. But you see you see how many methods there are, right? Nobody's gonna do the two same way. All the library methods I use is industry practice. I don't do anything fancy with that. What I'm trying to instill, the fancy stuff is what I'm trying to instill in you guys is to find a way to do it optimally, right? Because then you're not gonna struggle in interviews. You're gonna have a lot to say. But going back to that question, what I'm trying to teach you guys is actual, design pattern, actual software engineering. This is the stuff you use as a developer, right? So I'm trying to have you in that developer's mindset and not a QA testers because QA testers, a lot of them think, and this is from personal experience, a lot of them use this page object model and they abuse it and the framework becomes unusable, right? And nowadays people are asking more technical questions in these interviews, right? So you can't really get by too much or too much longer by not, being on your feet. That's the only reason I'm pushing this. Like none of this is taught in Technosoft or anything. I'm just doing it myself to see how much I could push you.
So so like sometimes I'll go, I'll read the TestNG documentation and stuff, and that will teach you a good amount. But when I learned React and stuff, I could easily just go to Udemy and find a high quality course on that framework. That's how I learned Node and React and all that stuff.
Right.
But if I look for Selenium or something, I just don't feel like.
Yeah, because that's the problem with this stuff, right? Like you're not gonna find good material at all. What I would suggest is look up software design patterns. Not yet, in your career, once you land a job, and This is the main thing in any type of development engineering, right? This is all that matters. Nothing else matters. That's how I put it.
That's what my current computer architecture is about, software design pattern.
Yeah, exactly. Right. If you get good at this, you won't have to worry about anything coding related, right? And this takes a lifetime to get good at. So what I'm trying to say is all this stuff is really, right, is just to make your workflow better. That's all. Nothing new. But don't worry about this just now. Like just have it in the back of your head. That's the only reason I'm teaching it. And I'm only dedicating to today and tomorrow for it.
So I think I'll try to refactor my filter thing. I mean, I'll try to recreate this.
You're gonna have to rewatch this video, period, because I know none of this stuck. But that's just how you learn it. Like I gave you a hint of it, and now you just kind of, even the video won't help when you rewatch it. It's just you gotta kind of do it until you realize why it works and why I did it this way.
Your job right now uses this like method or whatever.
No, not necessarily. Like right now, I do more management stuff. But I'm trying to get back to it because your skills will stagnate and whatnot.
I mean, like the people on your team. I'm saying
they're all bad. Like that's what I'm telling you guys. Like
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, how can you even implement this if the people on your team don't know how to do this?
Because so, like they have their test cases, right? So this is how it usually gets subdivided. Any type of thing, any type of app or web app, right? They have their own components to it. Deals, for instance, as an example, like deals, there's a bunch of things you could automate here, right? Clearly, you could see it here. Just a bunch of stuff. Like this could take hundreds of test cases. And let's say that was your domain to automate this, right? So I'm gonna do it my own way if I feel like everyone else's way is crap, right? But the one person doing this, my items suboptimally or not good at all, he's gonna automate it, and once his automation, once he's done, we're gonna run both tests, right? And if mine comes out all good, right, like despite feature changes and whatnot, you're gonna be able to spot him out easily, right? Why is his test case failing for something that doesn't even have any defects to it? You get what I'm saying?
Isn't that a waste? Like you're like redundant. You're doing the same thing as he's
No,
doing?
because me myself, I'd have my assignment on deals, so that's my only responsibility. Him, however he chooses to automate it, if it's bad or good, that's his problem, right? Like once the manager sees or whoever sees the execution reports and he sees, all right, deals is passing and it's detecting the bugs as it should, and if his stuff is giving false negatives, right, then he's gonna be spotted out easily. You know what I'm saying?
Giving off imposter syndrome.
Oh, say it again?
Giving me imposter vibes.
Who? Me?
No, like I'm gonna get spotted out.
No. You see, no. See, don't let that worry you, because what I'm trying to tell you guys is you're not going to be tested on this, most likely, right? Unless you're like interviewing for like 130, 150K position, right? That's period. Like I failed a thing. I had a, what's it called?
That's what BJ's expectations are of us, right?
That's forget about him. I'm expecting you guys to get this good.
We still got a month to get this understanding.
Don't worry about that timeline too much.
More than a month.
For this, is just I'm trying to push and see how much you guys. I'm just trying to see what you guys could do. That's it. Really. So yeah. So let's end it today. There's gonna be a bit more tomorrow, but this was just a taste. Don't take it too.
My MacBook is gonna come Thursday.
Yeah. That's fine.
I'll just set all that up again.
Yeah, that's fine. That's even a good thing. Just the only way you get good at this is by setting stuff. Yeah, keep rehashing. But yeah, let's end it here. Don't think about this too much. Just rewatch the video, see what you can get, and then we're gonna keep moving on to more.
All right.
Later.
All right, can you upload it tonight?
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to
yeah,
go through
I'm gonna
everything
do it right
tonight.
now. All right. Later.